All right. Another video which I want to make will be a bit slower, I believe. It's more about just the flow, Nothing serious, not specific topic, just the flow. When I ride my motorbike, I have millions of good thoughts, philosophical thoughts, which are not rush, but as always, I can have very good thoughts, but when it comes to making video, I tend to lose the interest in speaking about the same things I used to think about before. That's why I try to make more videos like where it's just a flow of my thoughts, and then they will generate a picture of the video itself. There is this mythology, I think it's from Greeks. The story about it's called Sisyph, I think. It's the guy who was punished by gods to push the rock, a very big and heavy rock, push it up the mountain. And every time when he pushed this rock to the mountain, as soon as he almost reaches the top, he would fail and the rock will go down again, go back. And Sisyph always go back down to pick the rock and start pushing it again. And that's his punishment, because he must do it again and again and again. I think he can't die because he's punished, and I think he can't die because he's not really a human, but that's the only purpose of his life right now, is to push the rock. I feel that our life as human beings, especially in modern time, I can't speak about the past. I believe in past it was same, exactly the same. It's just the nature of our world, and this myth of Sisyph exists because people had the same problem, had the same feeling as we have nowadays. But I can speak only for today, what we have now, in this life, in this world, in this time. And we have the same thing. People constantly have to push this rock of theirs up the mountain, up the hill, hoping that there is a final destination, the destination where we would put the rock to the top of the mountain and the rock will not slide again down, and we could just relax and enjoy our life after completing this mission. But the problem is of our life, same as for Sisyph, is that this rock always slides down. Always something happens in our life which pushes us back. Something always happens what changes our life, changes our kind of peace, our path, changes the direction, and we have to follow again and again, again and again, again and again. How to get rid of it, or how to get the final destination? Probably there is only one way. The final destination will be when we die. What is different from Sisyph? Our destination is not the top of the mountain. Our destination is not when we finish our work and then get inner peace. Our final destination will always be the same, when we die. Philosophers, what they try to do, they try to answer the questions of why, right? But why? But why Sisyph always push the rock? But why we need to go up? But why it always slides down? But why we need it? Why we need to be there on the top with this rock? Why can't we just turn around and go away? Or why can't we just go ourselves without this rock? Always trying to answer these questions. Different philosophers, they try to find, they tend to find different answers, but these answers are personal. I would say the most important thing is that they are personal. Different philosophers find different answers to the same question. And I would say not only philosophers, but different people too. We tend to, or we have to, search and find the answer to these questions by ourselves. I think that if I myself cannot find the answer to this question, if I am not searching for the answer, I would be burning out, not understanding why my life is so bad, why everything is wrong, why the rock always slides down, why. I just tend to ask the question why. I always did it since I was a little kid. I always try to ask the question why. Why I have to study at school? Why I have to study math, especially math, one of those subjects which is overcomplicated even at schools. And the question is just was raising again and again, and that's why I didn't like math at that time, because I understand that I can learn formulas, I can learn how it works, and I can use it, implement it, but why I need to do it? So it's more philosophical question, not like how to do it, but why should I do it? Why should I try? Why should I worry about formulas? If I find the answer in the formula, what I get from it, right? Look at math at school. They will just give you like the problem which you must solve, but why? Why I need to solve how many apples left in the basket? Why I need to solve more complicated equations? You can say that basket and apples, it's the way we can develop our logical thinking so that we are not dumb, but I'm not sure that if we never really study how to count apples in basket, and if you take some apples away, how many left, I don't think that if we don't study it at school, we will be that dumb that we will not be able to do it by ourselves, to learn it by ourselves, or to implement it by ourselves. Everything what is natural, for example, putting apples in basket, it's pretty natural, right? We take physical baskets, physical apples, we put them in, and we can count, we can calculate how many are there, and we know how many we eat and how many left. We can do it, we can learn it by ourselves naturally. But then it comes to deeper math, where it's like equations, logarithms, and so on. That's a super interesting question. Why I need to know it? Numbers which we can multiply and cannot multiply. Why I need to know it? Numbers which we can divide and cannot divide. Why I need to know it? Why? What? And the other funniest thing is that it's not always work the same way. Why 1 plus 1 is always 2? Because if we take a drop of water and we add another drop of water to this drop of water, we will get just one bigger drop of water. We're not gonna get 2 drops of water, we will have 1 drop of water. Some things we cannot count at all, like air, vapor, smoke. We can't count this. We can't say this is 1 vapor, this is 2 vapors. So they are not even like working with this basic math. I believe there are ways to calculate it in higher math, more complicated math, but I don't think that I really need it as just a human being who is not doing math for my whole life, and I don't choose the path of math. But schools, they push you to learn it. They push you to study it. Schools must be long enough, right? I see nowadays what's going on with education in other countries, in Thailand, and it's very weird. Very weird. And I can't agree with this at all. As a teacher, I can see how much students study here now compared to my own country. I'm from Russia. Education here is much more pushing for students. Students in Thailand at school, at the age of, they even actually since the kindergarten, But let's say the grade one, the primary one, what they do, they study 8 hours a day minimum. They have 8 classes, each class equivalent to an hour. Actually, it's 50 minutes, but they count it as an hour. So every day, except Saturday and Sunday, students have to go to school to study minimum 8 hours a day and stay at school for 9 hours. Plus, sometimes some kids, they have extra study before classes. Some students, weaker students, those students who considered are weaker, who are not good with their subject, with their study, with their grades, they have to study extra hour in the morning, meaning that we push them even more into this stressful situation, which is probably in the first place the biggest problem. The reason that they are not good at school is probably because they study too much, and we push them to study even more, so it just builds up extra stress for them, but doesn't help them at all. It just, we kind of punish them for the fact that we created this system which just doesn't work for them, same as we want it to work for them. And that's for me a big question, a big problem, because I am the person who never really 100% accepted any system of this world. I play the role. I know that I have to do this and that in order to have peaceful life and to avoid problems. But and I have to play by rules. But it doesn't mean that I accept these rules or I enjoy these rules or I understand these rules at all. I think that these rules, they destroy our inner peace, ourselves as well. The school, ideally, in my opinion, should develop not only the knowledge, but develop our character, who we are and who we should be when we grow up. But should be not the way that you should be like that or like this. You should become a lawyer because teachers say that it's a good job, parents say it will pay a lot of money, friends say that it's something cool, and so on. So you have to choose this job because you are pushed to this. Maybe you want to be an artist. You want to be an artist, you want to draw, but you just can't develop your skill enough because you are pushed by others to do what you don't want to do and probably don't need to do. That's the problem. You don't need it actually to be happy in this life. If you don't study at school, nothing will happen to you. Nothing bad will happen. Your existence may be a bit different. Maybe you will not go to university and you will not get the degree, and you will not be able to work, for example, as a teacher. So what? Is it the only way? Is it the only correct way to live your life? No, not at all. But why schools push so much kids to this? So yeah, let me finish. So students study 8 hours here every day, every single day. They have 8 hours of classes plus extra class in the morning for some students. So it's 9 hours, and after school. Some students, they study one more extra hour after classes when everybody go home. Some students have to stay and study more, and now another hour. For me as a teacher, it's tiring to teach, but for them, for little kids who have to study sometimes 10 hours a day, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. And then the main question for me is, they study 5 days a week like this, and 2 days a week, what left for them, it's the only time when they can be kids, when they can enjoy their life. And that comes to the parents too, because at first I also supported the idea that maybe you can send kids to language center, because I used to work there, where students can learn more, maybe deeper the topic, the specific topic which they might need in the future. But again, sorry. But again, who will choose what they are going to study? I remember myself as a kid. I couldn't decide myself anything. My parents would ask me, do you want to do this? I would say yes. Do you want to do that? I would say yes. But did I really understand what I'm going to do? No. I did a lot of sport, plus I studied English. And yes, because I studied English at school or extra classes in Russia, I could afford to live in another country, work in another country, and study in another country. Yes, but once again, the question is it the only way for me to be happy? Was it the only way for me, the only correct way for me to exist? No. If I wouldn't study English, I wouldn't know English well, but doesn't matter because I would just do something else and I would find another way and I would exist same as I existed before, just following another path. And I don't think that I would suffer from another path. Same as I'm not actually suffering now, except that I suffer the system, but system will be anyway the same. Doesn't matter what job you have or what life you choose. Most of the time we just have to follow the system, which is always the same anyway for everybody. But I don't accept the system myself. So yeah, kids can study at school for 10 hours. And then after school, sometimes parents bring their kids to language centers where the students will study another 1.5 hours, 1 to 1.5. So it's another time when kids should be kids, when they should stop being students already, they should just be themselves. No, instead of this, they have to study more. And on weekend, kids also tend to go to different language centers. I know that many kids, they go, like on Saturday or Sunday, they would go to, oh, sorry, my microphone. Well, apologize. They would go to study English. After English, they would go to art class, something else, some other classes, dance classes, singing classes, and so on. Jesus Christ, let the kids alone, in my opinion. What I feel nowadays, let kids alone. Leave them. Let them be kids. Let them play. Let them have fun. Let them go out with their friends, trying to find their own adventures. Of course, I remember myself as a kid, when you go out with your friends somewhere, you would not do what your parents would like you to do. You would do something crazy, something dangerous, something stupid, but that's the thing of being a kid. Kids need to learn the world, the real world, by trying to do something themselves and by trying new things and by choosing themselves. They don't choose nowadays themselves anything. They just go to school and they have to study, they have to write, they have to listen. Teachers always push students that you must listen to me, you must listen. You don't listen, you're a bad student, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I, as a teacher, I feel pain for them now, even more than ever before, because now I see the system even deeper. With my current job, I have to spend with students whole day. I see them since early morning until the late afternoon, almost evening. I see how they study. I feel pain for them. I remember that the only time when you are truly free to be yourself, it's your childhood. As soon as your childhood finishes, you must worry about your future family, your money, how you're gonna survive, how you're gonna live, what you're gonna drive, where you're gonna stay, what you're gonna eat. All these problems of life, they come later when you're grown up, when you're adults. Why kids need to worry so much about this now? Why kids need to study so much? Why we need to push them? The kids study more nowadays than I work. I teach, let's say, the worst days, maybe 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. Sometimes I have 2 hours a day of teaching a day. That's it. For the rest of the time, I must be present somewhere because the system tells me that I must be there at the school, at the working place. But at least I can do something else. I can try to avoid it, go away. Maybe hide from the unnecessary attention and just to stay alone with my thoughts, with who I am. Kids don't have this choice. Nobody give it to them. Nobody give them even chance to have it, to have their own time. So I am, as a future parent, I think I might become a parent extremely soon. Seems like in less than a year I will be a father. Oh, I hope I will. I would not be a Thai parent. It's not only about Thai people or Thai parents, it's the parents in general. They are all like this. All parents in all the world have the same problem of how to be a good father, how to be a good mother. And most parents, they don't really know what's going on in schools because they finished their school a long time ago and they don't know what's going on with their kids, how they have to study, how they have to be pushed. This is ridiculous. That's why I know better than them in some point of view, because I actually can see what's going on with kids in these schools and how they are forced to do what teachers want, not what they want to do. How they always pushed by saying, no, don't do like this, it's not correct, I don't want you to do like that, I want you to be this, I want you to be that. Let kids alone. Leave them alone. So screwed. I want to educate my kids by myself, ideally. They still have to go to school, of course, but I would understand what they have to go through every day. And in their free time, all I would try to do is to make them be happy and be kids, not be adults, not be grown up people who forced to, same as them now. At schools, we forced to do what we don't want to do. We forced to, from time to time, go to works which we don't want to attend. We have to do it. Give people, like, imagine if, for example, I spoke with my dad about this before. He said that he see the future kind of like socialist style. He's not a socialist person that much, but he see the future as a socialist, from socialist point of view, where because of new technologies, because of AI, because of robots, in the nearest future, people will not be able to work same as they work nowadays, which I don't believe at all, and that people will have more free time, people will be more free, and it means that government will have to support people in their life. So government will provide maybe a minimum wage for all families around the world, or all people, not only families, all people around the world, and which will be enough to survive, to live, to have housing, food. Maybe that's it. Maybe no cars, no motorbikes, no other things. And my father saw it as a good option where people would work because they want to work, or maybe people would work because they need some extra money. And those people who don't want to work, they would just be able to just live and exist without worrying. I told him that the biggest problem, in my opinion, in this is that nobody would actually really work, that only a very small percentage of people would find job interesting and entertaining enough to do it. Because I can't imagine that people actually really, really deeply in their heart want to work like we are working now, especially 9-to-5 jobs. All 9-to-5 jobs will be gone for sure, 100%. Because screw it, how much a waste of time it is. I can see it for sure. If I have classes like 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time I have to stay at work until I collect my 9 hours, what's the point, right? Just to get money? Just to get paid? Yeah, again, just to get paid. That's it. That's the only reason why we do it, just to get paid. Not because we enjoy it, not because we really deeply want to stay at this job whole day and spend time there in community, enjoying and having fun. No, everybody does the same. And everybody knows this truth, is that it's all a waste of time. It's all a waste of time. And if we have a choice, if we get paid, but we don't have to stay at work, I can't imagine anybody staying there long enough. Because I used to work like this too, when I was not forced that much to stay. So I could just come, teach my 2, 3, 5 classes a day, and then I would be free. I felt that this system was the best. At least I do my job, I do what I must do to get paid. And I got paid for this, for the work I did, not for the time I spent. But most 9 to 5 jobs, and nowadays I have the same, is that you just have to spend hours, sometimes pretending that you're working. Sometimes maybe a whole day you don't work, you don't do anything productive for this field of job you chose, but just pretend that you work so you get paid at the end of the day. And of course, if anybody would offer me money, consistent income for doing nothing, I would just take it, and I would never work in my life again. Even if it's a low income, even if it's just a minimum wage to live and survive. Maybe I would take this and I would find some extra income. I would focus more on doing something else, not 9 to 5 job, any other stuff which would potentially give me some money, maybe art, maybe crafting, maybe video making, maybe something else. But I would have enough time to search for it, to find it, to enjoy it, and do what I really want to do, not what I have to do because I don't have any other options or choice. Otherwise, if I don't have a job, I would have no money. If I have no money, I would probably die somewhere very soon because nothing to eat, nowhere to live. So yeah, basically that's it. A lot of things I discussed. I feel sad for kids at the end, and I think that if you are listening to me and if you are a parent of young children, if your children are not 18 yet, so that they can live their own life, please don't push them too hard. Let them be kids. They don't have time. My point is, they don't have time to be kids anymore. I had more time to be kids than children nowadays. Give them time, give them freedom, let them be themselves, let them go out. Especially, I know it's harder for mothers than for fathers. So if you are the father and you live in the full family with your kid, with your wife, you must be this strong person who would tell your wife, let the boy or the girl go out and have fun with her or his friends, even if these friends are not really good. Many parents, they worry that the friends are not good and they can bring their kids to do bad things. Well, believe me, the more you push your kids not to have these friends, not to do these things, the more your kids would want to do it, because your kids want to be free, they want to rebel. At some point, at some age, when they are tired of this system, when they are tired of only studying, when they understand that they are almost grown up, that their childhood is almost gone already, and they still didn't do even a slight thing of this childhood life, they would rebel. That's what always happens to teenagers. They always rebel and they start to do crazy things. And the more you push your kids, since they are little one, the more rebel they will be, the more rebellious they will be. I am a rebel in my life. But I can't say my parents were so pushy, but still pushy enough. But anyway, the system itself I hate. Well, a bit topic of the modern problems of modern society, not really philosophical that much in terms of freedom or wisdom or finding your own way. It's more about the life, the job, kids, existence, and how to survivability in this world. I hope, I don't hope. I would say my philosophy nowadays is like, don't hope, don't want, don't expect. Don't expect changes because they will never occur. The world existed like this for thousands of years since the humanity exists, and it will never change. We will always be this Sisyphus who is pushing the rock to the mountain. The main question is what we are going to do with this life once we understand that that's the only purpose of our life right now in this world, in this society. as the only purpose of our life is to push the stupid rock to the stupid mountain with no point. Let's see. Cheers.